Welcome everyone, welcome to our webinar. I'm delighted today to have with me Clarkson and Cindy, and I'm Jerome, CRO of DataWorks Group. Cindy.
Hi, thanks everyone for joining. I'm Cindy. I am working at DataWorks for 7 years now as an SEO expert.
Hi everyone, I'm Clarkson, the representative from Hong Kong office. It's my pleasure today here with the Paris team in Paris, 9 a.m., but in Hong Kong, 3 p.m. It's our pleasure to share global search insight today. So shall we start?
Yes. First, a quick intro about the group. Who is DataWorks? We are a group who believe in the beauty of nuances. We believe that every community, every market has specificities and that we need to address them. And our purpose is to connect brands to the world in a faster, smarter, and more trusted way, especially in a world where AI and human intelligence is everything. And that's what we use to deliver seamless content 24/7, wherever your consumer is going to connect. And we're going to talk about consumer connection or consumer visibility. Today, search doesn't have any borders, and your users are the one searching everywhere. AI is part of the answer, not the only one. The real pain point that you might have is the silos within your organization that are the one silencing your brand. So let's see how we're going to address that. And first, the gap, or why we say that those silos are pain points, is that what or where your consumer are searching you is 30% over the search engine, whether it's Baidu, Sogu, Quark, Bing in China. But where are the remaining people searching for you? That's what we try to understand. There's a portion of the people that are searching for you with generative AI. Some are using social search. Some are also discovering your brand within communities or local platforms. How to address those people, how to address this fragmented ecosystem, especially where you have issues to monitor those audiences. So, Clarkson, tell us about the specificities of the market.
Sure. So, obviously, in the China world, I would say the Chinese digital ecosystem, I would say, is quite complete. There's no standard SEO tool can cover them all, unlike the Western market. So, let's go into the 5 zones we identify in the map. So first of all, we have search, we have Baidu, Sogo, Bing China. I think these tools are quite familiar for all of you. And AI today, we have Doubao, DeepSeek, Qianwen, etc. So these AI tool is, of course, a lot of users is using them to do the data analysis, price comparison, and so on. And we have the social discovery, digital touch point. We have Xiaohongshu, Douyin, Weibo to allow your users to do the product discovery trends from the KOL and such. Knowledge and trust platform, we have Zhihu, Baidu, Baike, WeChat account, and so on. Last but not least is the commerce. I think these are the giants e-commerce platform in China. We have Tmall, JD, Pinduoduo, Douyin Shop, and so on. So you can see the different digital touch point. Obviously, they serve a different purpose. And today, a brand that's visible on Baidu could be absent from Xiaohongshu is invincible to 60% of its urban 20 to 40 targets. So let's move on before we talk about the content strategy, because there's a few fundamental things that is about the regulation conditions before you go into the China competition. So first we have ICP license. So what is it? Is a mandatory license to host your website in China, which means the domain with .cn is ideally with the ICP license. What could be the impact without the ICP? So it will affect your website authority in China, and of course to affect the quotability by LLM models. And second, we have CAC. So what is it? Is they will regulate AI content and enforce auto censorship, which means the AI will they have the rules that your content must avoid gray zones to remain citable by different AI tools in China. And the last thing is about the data residence. So Chinese user data must stay in China. So otherwise, this will directly limit the monitoring and the analytics too that you can use in China as well.
And those are the questions that our clients, you are usually asking us. Um, we always have the same. Why are you losing traffic? Why are you dropping in terms of impressions? Why your competitors are appearing before you in LLMs? Especially when you are a more or well-known brand than them. Why can't you target younger audiences on Instagram, TikTok? Those are key questions, especially when you consider specific markets like why I'm performing in a country rather than the other, like Japan, but I'm not appearing in Korea. Those are questions that we keep having. So why do we have those questions? Why is the this fragmented ecosystem, Clarkson?
So today, we can see that your customer is not looking for any brands. Actually, they are looking for their solution. So which means different digital touch point, like what I mentioned in the last few slides, they serve different purpose. So let's go through it one time. So we have 小红书. The users will discover a trend from the KOL. We have Doubao AI. So this is the user journey we usually look into. And then for the customer to check the real client customer review, your brand reputation, they will go to Jihu, this kind of tool to to do the study to get the validation. And also with WeChat, because WeChat is more than a communication tool, I would say. So they could be asked around, they can check your WeChat account to do all the last validation stage. And last but not least is the Timo, which means what I mentioned is the commerce platform. So it's usually where you can convert your consumer, will allow them to directly purchase from the e-commerce platform. So look into this whole journey. It's not complicated, but we have 5 touch point. Yeah. So if your brand is only presenting only one or two of these 5 digital touch points, here is a uncomfortable truth: is your customer could just drop off in the middle of the journey. So here we will give you some advice to ensure that how can we um, have our customer and lead them one by one to finish the whole journey and convert it.
Yeah, and that's only one example of a customer journey. There are tons of them, which are more and more complex. Your content is the one that is going to answer those questions. And we need to change the paradigm in terms of how we answer to your customer. We need to understand what the user is really looking for and not what you as a brand want to produce for them. You want to produce things that they are going to search for. And those are key or just some of the examples that we can have. Can you tell us more about it, Clarkson?
Sorry. So we have some example that the usual questions from the users, but what we can observe from our client is their brand content is very storytelling. The content is not speaking the user's language here today. So for example, from the Reddit, they will look into the review is more like a forum to discuss about the pros and cons about your products, your brands. And you can see the second point on the left hand side: best shampoo for hair loss. Wow, it hits 2.2 search volume per month. So if your product today is related to how the treatment to stop the hair loss, I think you should really look into the user behavior today on the AI point of view. So just to summarize here today is we always see the blockers from our user is they think SEO keywords content is already enough. We do the translation, but I would say unfortunately no. If today the user is looking for the solution, and your content need to answer what they are questioning from the AI, from the forum, from every different platform.
And the thing is, everyone in the company is doing their job. But in the end, no one is really owning this discovery. Search team are working on the organic traffic. Social team are working on the engagement. Content team are producing everything that is required for the different team, from the awareness to the conversion. Local markets are handling the adaptation, the understanding of what is going on locally. E-commerce is, of course, trying to convert, but each team is working as a silo. And who is owning this good discovery through the different channels? That's the question. So in the end, we see that budget is spent without a unified thinking of how we can be better at searching. The content is produced in a very fragmented way and is not thought as a consistent model to tackle what the AI is going to be searchable. Social media, in the end, is sometimes invisible, especially the organic part of it. And the teams are trying to translate, but they are not localizing the content for the pure search purposes. So those are the kind of fragmented ecosystem that we often see, because the stake is no longer to produce content with one single data point, which is the SEO, but it's a set or an ecosystem of content that is going to answer the consumer logic, but also the AI logic in order to be visible in this fragmented ecosystem. So it's how you're going to break those silos in the search behavior that is going to be the way to transform this whole fragmented ecosystem into something that is unified and that makes your brand visible.
So thank you, Clarkson. To illustrate the importance of global search, we wanted to show you 3 different cases, 3 different brands, 3 different sectors, but always one same observation. The first case we wanted to discuss is a client who works in the luxury watches industry. And the first insight we had when analyzing the client's visibility in AI is that this client only had 8.2% of share of voice on its main query luxury watch, which shows a real room for improvements, because we can see that the main competitors, leader on the market, has up to 42% of share of voice. So that was the first thing that we noticed. The second is that this 8.2% of share of voice was mainly relying on third-party websites, and that is a real risk. Why? Because it means that if those websites remove the pages or if their visibility collapse, then the client's visibility will also collapse. So it means that we need to make sure that the client's websites is used as a primary source inside of LLMs when we are asking about the brands, because this is where you control the narrative, and this is how we can prevent hallucinations inside of LLMs. The third insight is that Alibaba, which is a marketplace, was the second website used by LLMs to provide answers to users. Why is that a risk when you are working in the luxury industry? Is that sometimes Alibaba can be perceived as low quality product and can be associated with counterfeits. And for a luxury brand, that is a real risk. Why this happened? It was because Alibaba were publishing a lot of really well optimized buying guides. So this gives us an insight of what type of content we should produce as well to outrank Alibaba inside of LLMs. The second case is Colgate. So this example is very important because it shows you why social listening should be the start of every process in a global search strategy. The first thing is that the gap between content and demand is real. For instance, we have detected a real appetence for the disease prevention topic, but looking at the search volume, we also see that it was very important as much as whitening, which is a very important topic for a brand like Colgate. But on the website, we have 2.5 less contents available to tackle all of these opportunities. So here we had to create content, see what type of content produce, in which angle, what to answer to. Second thing is that the narrative battle. What it means is that when you're a brand who works in the health industry, such as Colgate, even though you have a very good visibility, you are competing with real health experts, clinics, doctors, dentists, dermatologists. And this is really important because it shows that EEAT is very, very important. Authoritativeness and authorships are important. So when you are creating content around the health topic, your content must be written and approved by real health experts to face the competition. A third element that is important is that thanks to our methodology that we will discuss afterwards, we have managed to create a real workflow with Colgate, from the topic selection, thanks to the social listening, to the GEO-ready master content, and to adapt these contents to other touch points to have a real 360 degrees escalation. It takes us up to 4 weeks. And fluoride is a very good example of why social listening is very important. Around this topic, we have more than 280,000 open web mentions, almost 7 million searches in 2025, and plus 38% of year-on-year growth. So what was a niche became mainstream, and what was mainstream became a very public health crisis. And before it turns into a public health crisis, your contents must be already published, ready, and optimized to make sure that users' concerns are, you have the answers to those concerns, really. Otherwise, your competitors will have the answer. The third case is L'Oreal. So here, the main idea we wanted to highlight is that obviously, such as every strategy, everything needs to be adapted to the markets you are targeting, because people will look for the same thing, but in different manners. For instance, in France, we know that 99% of searches are unbranded. It means that they won't look for your brand. They will look for a solution to the problem. So they will use generic queries, but they will look differently. So in the US and the UK, for instance, people really like scientific and critical thing. They are questioning every claim, and they have a real patents for high ingredient literacy. In France, this is quite the opposite, actually, because we like avoidance and caution. We want gentle and measured promises. But in Germany, Brazil, and India, it is also different. So we need to understand how people are looking for the solution so that we can use these insights to build up a really good strategy.
So, what is the future? And when we look at all of those questions around content and visibility.
Okay, let's see. So we here's the slide of the recap. The future, of course, does not weigh us, does not weigh our customer. So and neither do your competitors. And just look back, maybe 6 months ago, I think. I think most of the users, they are still using the SEO search result to find what they are looking for, and we have traditional SEO search too, and then move on. We have social. Now we have AI. So what could be next? What could we anticipate is the agentic commerce, which means it could be very fast. Maybe in the next few months, next half year, the AI can help us to make decision, or they can directly recommend a brand, a product that you are suitable for. And we identify 3 ages, I would say, about the AI. So before we have the traditional one that we mentioned, we can launch the Google shopping ad, we have the SEO, we have the SEM. And today we have AI. So I just recall I had questions from Hong Kong market. Hong Kong customer, they asked me when they look into the report, they found out that impression dropped 50%, but the SEO keywords ranking is increasing. So they asked why? Why is it going like this? So the answer is very simple, but it's mainly because right now nowadays when you browse I would say, let's say Google Chrome, okay, so what you can see, who is dominating the top position is AI overview. Is no longer the SEO and SEM. They are at the bottom right now. So this is why it will hurt your impression performance. So even your SEO keywords could be ranked up very high. Your keywords is still maintaining number one, but I would say 90% of our Hong Kong clients, Singapore clients, they already asking how can we enter the AI competition. So it's good that most of them already to prepare for the battle, to prepare for all the AI, all content strategy, break the silo like Jerome you just mentioned. So tomorrow, how can we make sure that if the AI can be the new decision maker for the customer, so how can we ensure that the content show up on the AI search engine is precise, is accurate? Because most of our clients also come from the luxury industry, right? So if they come from the luxury industry, they care about the brand voice, the description of their brand, the historical content, everything. So just to recap, if today you already absent from the AI search today, that could be a red flag because to the AI tool is going really fast and they will only become more and more mature.
Yeah, and if we look at this diagram, what is impressive is the speed of adoption and the speed of things are moving. The SEO, as you mentioned, and the speed of how it dropped in terms of impressions, in terms of visibility for our brand is super fast compared to everything that we've seen before. And it goes also with the rates of adoption of AI in every market. So that is something that is telling us that this agentic commerce ready content needs to be already done now.
So yeah, 100% agree with you, Jerome. So let's look into the China market. I would say we can see that China is 5 years ahead of the rest of the world because you can see we have three pillars here. So the first pillar we have is about the live stream commerce. So it's a really quick recap summary here. You will see there's around 600 billion USD. GMV means growth merchandise value in 2025 from Taobao Live, Douyin, Kuaishou. So this impact means that live stream presence is already a equivalent to your commercial front line, but not only a marketing options. And second pillar, we have the super app, we have mini programs. 1.2 billion WeChat users on mini programs, and you can see this whole ecosystem, the impact, the numbers is loud and convincing. And the WeChat strategy today is equivalent to your business strategy. It's not only the social strategy. And the third point, AI shopping agent. So now already live in 2026, we have Taobao 11, we have Doubao shopping red agent. So the impact is the citability by these agents is the equivalent to your new critical feasibility metric. So to recap, the entry ticket has already been paid by your local competitors. So the question for foreigner brands today is no longer should we enter, but how do we catch up?
And at this stage, your question is probably, how do we do that? How do we measure it? How do we understand the visibility? Cindy, can you guide us through the methodology?
I think it is now time to speak about methodology to see how we can break down silos, unify discovery, and act on every silo. So our methodology is built around 5 steps. All of these steps are built around users because, as we keep saying in the presentation, is that users should be at the center of all of your strategy. So from listening what is being said on the open web to auditing your visibility on the different touch points to structuring your team, your budgets, and all of the actions that need to be done, from the producing step to the monitoring step. Everything is built to detect every blind spots and weaknesses. So the first step, as I say, is to listen what is being said on the web. This is where you will understand what are the new trends, what people say about your brands, about certain topics that you should cover in your websites, about specific products, etc., to have a real idea of what you should communicate. What are the new communication strategy that you should build around those new topics? Once we have those insights, we can audit the different platforms on which you should be present, on which you are present, to try to figure out what should be optimized, what's good also. And we will compare everything with your competitors to have an idea of how performing you are. Then we have the structuring phase. This is where we want to define a clear roadmap to understand what should be done, what are the priorities, etc. Then we have the producing phase. This is where we're going to address all of the subjects in multiple formats and variations in content to make sure that you have a 360 degrees coverage. And we have the monitoring phase, which is very important because obviously you want to monitor all of the performance or to monitor the impacts of all of the actions that we will put in place and readapt the strategy if it is necessary. So for the first step, there is a real assessment among our clients, is that brands publish what they want to say in the way they think they should communicate. But the reality is that they do not answer to what people are really looking for. And to find out what people are really looking for, again, social listening is the start of everything. Because we need to find out the territories of expression, the key themes, the weak signals, the subject at risk. Remember, we mentioned Fluoride earlier for Colgate. And social listening really helped us in this project. Then we have the content authenticity versus manipulation and botting, because we need to figure it out among what is being said on the open web, what is the real topic amongst every spammy website that we can have. So we just remove all the noise made by those spammy websites to figure it out if a topic is really strategic for you. Then we understand what is the real vocabulary used by users to speak about your brands, your service, your products, the topics, because this is the vocabulary that you should use in your communication. We don't want brand jargon because people are not looking for them. So if you want to improve your visibility, obviously, we need to understand users. Then you will be present on different platforms, right? So you need to adapt the communication to these platforms. We don't speak the same way on Facebook that we can speak on TikTok, etc., etc. And then we have the local variations in both topics, expressions, and usage. During the audit phase, we actually have different audits that are important because we are in a global search strategy, so we will analyze all of the touch points. The first one is quite obvious. This is the SEO performance. We want to figure out what are your current ranking, where you do not rank, how is the competition ranking as well, to figure it out where are the priorities. And then we will conduct a gap analysis. So we will analyze your content and see all of the opportunities you are entitled with. Then we have the social visibility, which is important because social is used in global search. People are going to look for solutions on social platforms as well. And social platforms can also pop out inside of LLM as sources, but also inside of Google, for instance. So we want to make sure that they are SEO friendly and GEO friendly optimized. Then we have the AI visibility. So this will be based on a set of prompts that we validate with our clients on strategic queries and tested across all AI platforms. So depending on the markets, depending on the clients, we can test out different LLMs. So there will be ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot, AI mode. In Hong Kong and Taiwan, that could be Daobo and DeepSeek as well. And last but not least, we have also a real appetence to audit the review sites and the marketplaces. And these are very important because they will also be used inside of LLMs to talk about your brands. For instance, for the review sites, Trustpilot is often used. And if you had a bad review on Trustpilot, this negativity will reflect inside of LLM's answer. So it is very important to understand what people are saying about you, that you are present on this place, reply to all negative comments to make sure that your reputation will still and remain good everywhere. And because we want to be visible inside of LLMs and inside of Google and all search engines, it means that your content should be accessible and readable. And for this, we have to analyze your website, technically speaking. Another deliverable that we really like to provide our clients with is the visibility map. So basically what we do is that we analyze the different topics on the different channels, and we see where you are very visible and where you have some efforts to make. And sometimes for one same topic, you will have to provide efforts on specific channels, but not on other. So it is very important to know this, because it will allow you to understand what your priorities are. So in green, it is where you are visible and don't have to make any efforts yet for now. In yellow, it is where you are visible, but needs to make a little bit of efforts to improve your ranking. And in red, it is where you are absent. This is your blind spots. And this is where your competitors are present and you should be present. So this is your top one priority. Then the step structuring. So after we have audited everything, we need to understand how we will, redefine the strategy. And for this, we have 6 elements that are very important. The first one is the editorial strategy. So which content should I produce, in which angle, which formats? We have the mean strategy, so which budgets, which expertise is needed, and for which action. We have the target ecosystem. So this is all the channels you should be present to. So if you're not present on a specific channel, but your audiences, we will provide you with a real roadmap on how to go on this specific platform. Then we have the local strategy. So we want to make sure that we adapt everything to the different audiences. And we have the production workflow and governance that are also very important. During the producing phase, this is very important to understand that one content should be addressed differently regarding to the different touch points, especially on social media, for instance. So these charts show you how we can proceed. We have a master content that is either done by our AI agents that are trained in SEO and GEO, or our copywriters can also provide a content. It just depends on the clients and in the industry. But at the end, we have a master content that is optimized enough to rank in Google, in search engines, and in LLMs. Then this master content will be sent to our AI agent for the social knowledge base that is trained specifically for each platform, and would help us to understand how we can cover this topic on the different platform. And finally, we have the monitoring phase. So because we have different touch points, obviously there will be different monitoring that we will cross together to have real insights. So we have the monitoring, the SEO monitoring, where we will be monitoring the keyword list, for instance, and your ranking to understand SEO speaking how you are performing. Then we have the GEO and AI monitoring. So we will keep monitoring the set of prompts that we will have defined together to see if there is any evolution, positive or negative evolutions, and to readapt the strategy. It is also where we will see if there is any hallucination from LLM and try to figure it out how we can control the narrative as much as we can. And then we have the social listening, which is important to keep monitoring what is being said around your industry to make sure that we can, tackle new opportunities. So sometimes we can have conversational bubble. It means that people are talking a lot about a specific subject, but when we are looking for the search volume inside of Google, we do not see any positive trend yet. So we need to keep monitoring this so that when there will be a lot of search volumes, we can, readapt the strategy and provide content for this. Then we have the content void. This is where searches are exploding, but there is no content. Remember Colgate, for the disease prevention, we helped them to produce contents because there were a lot of search volumes, but 2.5 content. And then there is the narrative distortion. So this is what I mentioned earlier when LLMs have some hallucination. So this is really bad. So we need to, really readapt the strategy when this happens, really.
Clarkson, how do we deal with that within a cross-border versus a domestic landscape?
So first of all, thank you for the very in-depth explanation on the methodology and the way of working, Cindy. We are trying to wrap up everything, so don't be too overwhelmed by lots of text in this table. So we want to make it more simple to our client. So we always say, we have one framework, but two different strategies. So we have cross-border strategy, we have domestic strategy. So when you look into the right-hand side, the domestic column, you can see is what I already explained. in China competition, there's much more to prepare and to do to anticipate. So you can see the production time could be much longer than the cross-border one. So there's no, I would say there's no yes or no. It's only about how we listening to our customer needs, and then we will conduct the audit, how we structure the way of working and production, and to meet your KPI today, because some of the client they might want to look for the low hanging fruit really fast in 3 to 6 months. They might want to run an AIO trial campaign for their hero products. That's could be a different hybrid flexible marketing strategy. So here we remain the same mentality. We streamline everything for our clients. We know the frameworks and also we knows the details, but we can be very hybrid, starting from listen to what you need today.
In this global ecosystem, why, and we talked a lot about consumer centricity and about breaking the silos, and it's about the same with your agency ecosystem. A few, of course, benefits from working with DataWords. First, you have all-in-one under one roof. You get from the audit, the social listening capabilities, production and localization at scale, even including the global deployment, monitoring of everything. That's a single partner that is going to support in every aspect of the search and production of the content. Of course, you saw that for us, the social intelligence is one of the key aspects of this whole search capabilities, because it's the starting point of everything. It's also one of the crucial search pillar of your consumer, and the way we are going to fuse the data in order to scout everything is key, and especially also identifying what is an inauthentic visibility or profile that is talking about you, because you need to remove this noise within this social intelligence. DataWords has 160 culture, 25 offices globally, and it's a way to scale or to expand these global search capabilities. Since we are taking care of local nuances, we are also taking care of each touch point nuance. And that's very important, because in the way you're going to speak to your clients, it should be really adapted to every touch point, every market, every aspect of your communication. So all in one is why we can be a key partner in order to tackle those topics. You should be the one to act, or you will be invisible from those platforms. There is no longer time to wait. The act is now. You get most of the keys now to understand how you should move forward. And of course, we have some time to take a bit of questions. And we already got a few questions for you, Cindy and Clarkson. The first one, can you explain the difference for everyone between what we call SEO and AEO?
So maybe let me start first. I would say this is quite a common question. I'm not sure if it's from my client in Hong Kong, because I almost face this question every week when we have different meetings. So a lot of clients, they have the ideas about AIO is basically same as SEO. So I wouldn't say they are 100% different. So when we do AIO production, we need to consider both. The way of working, the tools that we use, of course, will be different. So the workload or the way of working would be different. So you can consider that the SEO content, the keywords you hope to rank up on the search engine. So in the traditional way, we write the title, SEO title, meta description to show to the customer, right? So this is what we call is the fundamental of the AIO. But on AIO point of view, is more like how you answer the your customer questions on the AI, on different AIs. So it's more like a conversational content. It's more like addressing their issue concerns in their mind. So do you want to add a little bit extra
Yes.
points, Cindy? Thank you.
Yes, so I think, as you said, there are some common points on which we work for SEO and GEO. So, for instance, I mentioned the technical aspect. We know that, for instance, search engines don't really like JS, for instance, or JavaScript, and LLMs really hate that as well. So you need to make sure that your content is accessible, and the recommendations will basically be the same. Again, when you will optimize your contents, there is a way to optimize your content in an SEO manner, but also in the GEO manner. For instance, you need to answer to the questions directly in the first paragraphs, provide a summary of the response at the very top of your article, and to make sure that the article really answer to the user concerns. Also, GEO is different in a way because there is two different types of optimizations available. The first one is what you have on your website, so your own contents. But you also need to work on your PR strategy, because to be mentioned and used as a source and making sure that you are authoritative among AIs, other websites must talk about your brands, must talk about your products. And if you want to control the narrative as much as you can, you need to build up a partnership. So you also have this huge difference, I would say, with SEO.
100%. Thank you.
Thanks.
Did we answer the questions well?
I
Jerome?
think so.
Thank you.
I understood myself. Second question. Is there a magic tool that we can use to do that? Because it looks quite intensive.
So we do not have a magic wand, unfortunately. So no, I think human expertise is a key to successful strategy. So obviously we have AI that can help with repetitive tasks among the process, but it does not replace a real analysis from the topic, and you can't really cover what is being said on the open web thanks to AI. You need to make sure that you control your strategy and not let LLMs or any other tools controlling your strategy without a real expertise.
Thanks. In the extent of this tool or this question, how do you build the prompts that are going to be interesting for the brand itself?
So it is a very interesting question, because I will brought another answer to a question that I get often from my clients, is there any tool on the market that give us like a monthly search volumes for specific prompts? And for now, there is no tool on the market that allows us this. So how do? We have a keyword list that we have built up with strategic keywords for which our clients should rank on SEO, right? So we will use this because we know that people are searching for those terms. So we will base our prompts on the keyword list, on the most strategic terms, to make sure that we build up prompts for which you should rank, absolutely rank, and for which we are sure they are monthly search volumes.
Sorry, I just want to supplement a little bit with the Cindy answers. 100% agree, and I have a assumption of just based on our marketing experience from the Hong Kong team as well. When we talk about the search volume, about the prompt, I think is quite different from the SEO keywords, because SEO keywords is something very solid that the users look for, but the prompt is always come to different way of questions. You see what I mean? So different person, they have a different type of communication way. Some of them could be like me sometimes when I lazily to type the question, could be ungrammatic correct, could be some of the typo, could be really very lazy without a complete sentences. So from my point of view, I see it's really hard to get the search volume with the exact prompt, because prompt again is a conversational check search, so it's quite different from the traditional SEO keyword search volume, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, and you mentioned something important, because it's also mean like for the same questions asked the same way, twice in a day or like in several times during the week, the answer can be different as well. So this is why it is very important to monitor the prompts in the long run, so that we have a real view of what is your ranking inside of LLMs. You shouldn't do an analysis on the one-shot strategy, because it doesn't really mean anything if you don't monitor things in the long run.
Another question that popped out, which is, I think, quite interesting, is we see a very complete methodology that you developed. If, as a client, I want to focus on one specific touch point, can I go just for a part of the methodology itself, or is it a full audit that you are always doing?
So we adapt to our clients, really. We will always recommend what's best for you, but depending on your budget, we understand that sometimes you need to focus on one thing first, and this is not a problem. So we will audit this specific touch points and give a recommendation for it.
And another very interesting question. We see that in the examples, we talk a lot about user-generated content, UGC. Do you suggest that as a brand, they should produce content on third-party websites to stay relevant, or should they try to influence? How they should behave towards that?
I think it's very interesting, and it should be taken with cautious to avoid any bad buzz. So there are some recommendations we can apply to be present, but in my opinion, being present as a brand is very important. Try not to manipulate users thinking I'm another user and I am just talking about my brand, because if user knows that, this is a risk, really.
There's also another common tactics with our client when we do SEO plus AIO retailer. Let's say we quite usually do the backlinks campaign, because backlink content could be more PR approach. The message could be more corporate editorial. But on the other hand, you can do a more related to the user's prompt questions. So it's like mixing different content approach and formatting, could be the narrative, to try to adapt as much as you can between your brand, I would say between your brand guideline and the user search behavior. Because like what we mentioned in Dataverse, we have a lot of luxury client, enterprise clients, and they really don't want to have something really lame content on the search engine. So they really care about the brand protection, everything. Yeah.
Yes, and I think it is, the optimization I mentioned earlier inside of GEO, like working on your PR strategy, because as you mentioned, we also have some clients in the luxury industry that cannot address specific topics. So why is my watch like not working well, or that type of questions? You cannot really provide that answer on your website. So building partnerships on other websites for which you can answer to this question is very important.
Thanks. And I think overall, and what we saw through this whole presentation, is the importance of thinking consumer first, the customer centricity of the content, the way we're going to address them is key. And it has always been key in all marketing strategies. It's just that the consumer behavior is changing bit by bit, and we need to adapt to this change of behavior. Okay, thanks all. We're done with the key questions. Of course, you may have additional and probably tons of additional questions on those topics. You have here a QR code that you can use to discuss with our experts wherever they are in the world to address your markets. We're super happy to keep on those discussions. Thank you, Clarkson. Thank you, Cindy, for this presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.